Welcome back to another English online session. Today we are going to look into the sixth chapter from the textbook Footprints Without Feet. Last chapter also we have seen the life of a scientist, but it was a story. But here we are going to look into the life of a real scientist. The title of the story is The Making of a Scientist. It was written by Robert W. Peterson. Before narrating the life of that particular scientist, let me give you a brief idea about the writer. Robert W. Peterson was an American writer who later became a freelance author of magazine articles and books, especially on the topics of sports and scouting. His 1970 Chronicle of Negro League Baseball, titled Only the Ball Was White, was hailed by the New York Times as having recaptured a lost era in baseball history and a rich facet of black life in America. The baseball commissioner at the time, Bowie Quinn, later credited Peterson's book with having focused greater attention on the accomplishments of Negro League players, leading to their admission to the Baseball of Hall of Fame. A very famous American writer who concentrate on writing sports and scouting. This particular scientist also one of the uh, member of Scout. So he just wrote the life of this particular uh, scientist life from his childhood to uh, a young scientist. His achievements were narrated here. Let me explain you the chapter now. At the age of 22, a former Scout of the Year excited the scientific world with a new theory on how cells work. Richard H. Ebright and his college roommate explained the theory in an article in the Proceedings of the National Academy of Science. So when the chapter starts, the achievement of a young scout is explained here. Scout here, a member of the Scout Association, and their theory published on a proceedings here, a published report of set of meetings or conference, and they have published a new theory, and the name of the scientist is Richard H. Ebright and his college roommate. They have published this theory about how cells work. It was the first time this important scientific journal had ever published the work of college students. In sports, that would be like making the big leagues at the age of 15 and hitting a home run your first time at bat. So, like scoring a century in the first match, like such an achievement, a very great achievement for them, because this is the first time this journal is publishing the work of the college students. Here leagues here in a field of tough competition and high rewards, the largest or foremost of its kind, achieving something great in the beginning itself. For Richard Ebright, it was the first in a long string of achievements in science and other fields. So it's a greatest achievement for Richard Ebright, and it is the first one in a greatest string. He had done a lot of things, and this is the first one. And it all started with butterflies. An only child, Ebright grew up North Reading, Pennsylvania. So everything started uh, researching butterflies. He was the only child of his parents, and he just born and brought up in Reading, Pennsylvania. There wasn't much I could do there, he said. I certainly couldn't play football or baseball with a team of one, but there was one thing I could do: collect things. So, as a one person, he could not play football or baseball. The one thing he could do, he can collect things. As a hobby, he can collect different things like a stamp or whatever. So, collecting things is one of the option he had. So he did, and did he ever? Beginning in kindergarten, Ebright collected butterflies with the same determination that has marked all his activities. So the first thing he collected butterflies in the kindergarten. He started collecting different butterflies. He also collected rocks, fossils, and coins. The other things he collected: rocks, different types of rocks, coins, and fossils. He became an eager astronomer too, sometimes stargazing all night. From the first, he had driving curiosity along with a bright mind. So he got a frustrated mind. Sometimes he just observed the stars, stargazing, looking at the sky at night. Even sometimes a lot of time he spent to observe the sky. He also had a mother who encouraged his interest in learning. She took him on trips, bought him telescopes, microscopes, cameras, mounting materials, and other equipment, helped him in many other ways. So he got a very encouraging mother, always ready to support. She bought a lot of things for him and supported in many ways to encourage him. I was his only companion until he started school, his mother said. After that, I would bring home friends for him, but at night we just did things together. So she was the only companion he got. So after he joined, they brought friends in their home. But at night, they are the only people. They just share the thoughts, and always his activities were supported by his mother. Richie was my whole life after his father died when Richie was in third grade. So when this Richie is the nickname of Richard. So when he was in the third standard, his father passed away. After that, the mother took care of him for everything. She and her son spent almost every evening at the dining room table. So there they just exchange their conversations. So there she just guide him, support him to just continue the activities he was involved. If he didn't have things to do, I found work for him, not physical work, but learning things, his mother said. He liked it, he wanted to learn, and learn he did. He earned top grades in school. On everyday things, he was just like every other kid, his mother said. In the very young age, he liked to learn a lot of things. She used to give topics to learn, support him, and he likes it very much. So, that's the best thing. He was always curious to know things, so she just support him. And other activities, everyday activities, he is like any other child. By the time he was in the second grade, Ebright had collected all the 25 species of butterflies found around his hometown. So when he reached, he had started this from kindergarten. When he reached the second grade, he just collected all the different 25 species that can be seen around his town, the butterfly species he just collected. That probably would have the end of my butterfly collecting, he said. But then my mother got me a children's book called The Travels of Monarch 10. So he thought that might be the end of his butterfly collection because all the variety butterflies he had collected. By the time his mother brought him a book, and the name of the book is The Travels of Monarch 10. This might be a turning point in his life. That book, which told how monarch butterflies migrate to Central America, opened the world of science to the eager young collector. So, this particular book explained him the migratory butterflies, and that opened the world of science to him, developed curiosity in him, and he is mentioned as a collector. Here, collector, a person who collects things of a specific type professionally or as a hobby. So, this man got more curiosity, and Richie got more curiosity to collect things and know more things about these butterflies, particularly monarch butterflies. At the end of the book, readers were invited to help study butterfly migrations. They were asked to tag butterflies for research by Dr. Frederick A. Urquhart. So, at the end of that particular book, an activity has been given to study this migration of the butterflies. They are asked to tag the butterflies. The butterflies they just found, just tag them and leave them. This could help the scientist Frederick A. Urquhart. He is just researching on it. Ebright's mother wrote to Dr. Urquhart, and soon Ebright was attaching light adhesive tags to the wings of monarchs. Okay, adhesive means able to stick fast to a surface or object sticking. So, colorful stickers he started just sticking on these monarch butterflies. So, Ebright's mother just contacted this scientist and he just asked him to do it. So, he started doing that work. Anyone who found a tagged butterfly was asked to send the tag to Dr. Urquhart. The butterfly collecting season around reading last 6 weeks in the late summer. So, whoever found this colorful tag on these butterflies asked to send that to this scientist. So, and it continued for nearly 6 weeks in the late summer. If you are going to chase them one by one, you won't catch very many. So the next step for Ebright was to raise a flock of butterflies. So chasing the butterflies one by one is a difficult process. You won't always get one. So he decided to just raise these butterfly in his basement. He would catch a female monarch, take her eggs, and raise them in his basement through their life cycle from egg to caterpillar to pupa to adult butterfly. So he decided to raise this butterfly, just catch a female butterfly and collect its eggs, and the life cycle of this butterfly you already knew it, I think. So he decided to raise it in his basement. Then he would tag the butterflies' wings and let them go. For several years, his basement was home to thousands of monarchs in different stages of development. So it continued for few years. So now this basement filled with thousands of butterflies. So he just tag it and just let it go. So he wanted to know, or the researcher, the scientist wanted to know how far this uh, butterflies go. It's tedious and there is not much feedback, Ebright said. So this work is very slow process, dull. He didn't get any interesting result. In all the time I did it, he laughed. Only two butterflies I had tagged were recaptured, and they were not more than 75 miles from where I lived. So only two butterflies recaptured. They were recaptured, and they didn't travel much distance, only 75 kilometers. So these things didn't give any good result to him. So he just became very disappointed with that work. I am stopping the explanation of this chapter here. In the next class, I will continue the explanation of the balance part of the life of Richard Ebright. Till then, take care. Bye.